Chris Duker for GeekNerdNet.com. I am really excited to be joined by some old friends of mine, Brett Monro and Morten Kristiansen. They are the co-creators of a new graphic novel called Kings of the Strip. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
It's Morten Kristiansen. You gotta Danish it up the whole way there, Chris.
Well, I figured if I got the first name right,
I'd be okay. Stick with that.
So hey guys, welcome. Thanks for being on the show. I mean, just so people know, the two of you also for many years and have been hosting a podcast called We Talk Comics, part of your We Talk podcast network. So yeah, this is really exciting. I'm really happy for the two of you to. I mean, I watched your Kickstarter campaign video. 5 years, 200 plus pages, a dream come true. You put this together, and you literally have printed paper, so to speak, and talk about the book.
The podcast network and stuff like that. I mean, especially We Talk Comics. We've really been blessed, and we took the time to learn a lot of lessons from people before we decided to put the comic book together, put the whole graphic novel together. And I think especially when it comes down time to do this, it kind of put expectations in our head, and we try to manage our expectations when it comes to the Kickstarter, but at the same time not manage our expectations when it comes to the quality of the actual book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
We really, when we were interviewing creators, we'd love to get really deep into their creative process and really understand kind of the techniques and the psychology behind comic books, more so than just hey, what have you been working on lately? No, we wanted to really get in there deep, and that's what we tried to do, and that gave us a lot of insight.
Nice. I love both of those answers. Are a great start. Talk about the story, and then we'll get into a bit more behind the scenes of it as we go along here.
So the story of the scene is, in this case, they're a band that were, really big in the 80s. They're that kind of 80s glam, hard rock, hair metal band that everybody knows about, and they were huge. But then, unfortunately, over the years, members fell out, they split up because there was a lot of tension within the band. Well, the time is now, and it's time for a big reunion tour with the members of the band that formed the kind of core when they were at their biggest. But the problem is, here we are on day one of the tour, and a lot of those tensions are coming up again. So the big question that we raise throughout the book is this tour going to happen? Hell, is the first show even going to happen? And we kind of go flashing back through the years of the band's existence, telling the story of how those tensions came up and now where they kind of tie into today's story.
Yeah, essentially, in many ways, this is the scene's origin story, framed through that first night of the reunion tour.
That's really cool. And the thing that I love about it too is, is that you both love comics, you both love music, and here it is, they're married together. And I mean, those years you've spent meeting creators, talking to musicians and artists on both sides of that comic and music fence. And when I say artists, talk about maybe some of the most important, or maybe there's a couple of lessons that you two have taken and made sure that would either shine through the book or in the creative process, that you always kept it almost like a mantra as you went along.
Not too much dialogue. Don't get too heavy on the dialogue. That's really understand that storytelling in comic books is a visual medium. So the script needs to convey that, but still give freedom to the creator or to the artist, that they can make their own contribution to it. So you kind of give them a guideline and let them do their thing and trust them and empower them to be their best selves. I think that was the thing. And then don't go too heavy on that dialogue. Try and get the characterization in. Don't get lazy in the writing. Get that characterization in through the dialogue, through the movement, through the facial expressions, and try and make it as natural and realistic as possible.
And I think when it comes to the music side of it, what it comes down to is that it's the realization that even though these people come off so larger than life in real life, they're actually humans, and they have their foibles, they have all their flaws, but at heart, a lot of them are really, really good people. And they do this for the love of doing it. And I think that that's something that we try to do, is it was like our love came out onto the page, hopefully. And I think that what we tried to do is let their love of music, kind of filter through us.
Nice, I like that. Now I want to talk a bit. Martin, you talked about the art and the importance of it, and obviously we'll all agree on that. Talk about your artist for the book.
Yeah, JC Grande did the art. He's a very accomplished artist. He's worked on a lot of independent books. I think he's got more than 50 titles under his name, and he's had some books that have been published through IDW and Image, and Johnny Monster, I think, was his Image book, if I remember correctly. Alan Wake, he did that. The video game adaptation, he worked on that, and so he's a very established guy, and we were really lucky to get him. He's an El Salvador gentleman, and we had luckily his day job is also teaching English, so we had good communication. Sometimes we did run across that because we had people working on the book in Argentina, a couple of them, and Italy as well. So sometimes the language barriers could be a little bit difficult, but JC he loved hair metal. That's the reason he wanted to work on the book. He established that immediately. I love hair metal, and when we saw his art, we went, this guy gets it. We knew we had the right man.
Yeah, for sure. The thing that I love about JC is that he brings a lot of dynamics to the page, and you can't tell a story about a band being on stage that's high energy without giving the reader that punch of just the action and the motion and just seeing everything in kind of like that bigger than life setting. And I think that JC did a great job of bringing that.
Nice. I mean, you mentioned, sounds like obviously you've got quite the international creative team behind the entire book. How did all that come about? How did you guys go about getting your team together to really bring this thing to fruition like you have now with your Kickstarter campaign?
Well, JC came to us. I mean, we went and just advertised on, all the forums that you can advertise on for an artist, we also started looking for a lot of people whose work we liked, and most of those people would come to us and say, okay, and they would give us their page rate, and they would have worked on 0 books, and we've just seen pinups, and they give us a page rate equivalent to what somebody who's established in the industry would get. And then JC came to us, gave us a reasonable page rate, and just answered one of our ads, and we thought he was the perfect guy. Brett found our colorist, who's killer, does an amazing job.
Yeah, Guillermo Ucha. It's funny because I was on Comixology. I was just, clearing out some of the submit books that had come in a big package, and I was going through this one about werewolf dog, something like that.
Lucky Dog, I think it was.
Yeah, and so anyways, the awesome thing about it was that I looked at the color, and it's this incredible pop of color, and I just thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we could get this guy to do the colors on the book, because I know that he can really make it sing and really make it pop for everybody's eyeballs. And then going into the book, there's his email address. We hit him up, and the next thing you know, bam, he's working on her book, and I'm ecstatic for the end result.
And the first 50% of it really came through. We found our letterer on Fiverr, and he was incredible. He did an incredible job. Unfortunately, he suffered an injury and kind of stopped communicating with us, and just didn't let us know what was happening and why he wasn't completing the books. And for a long time, we went without hearing him. We found his replacement on Twitter. Of all things, we just hashtagged letterer until we found a guy whose work we liked. It's what do you call it? It's guerrilla warfare, but with comic book making.
Right. I mean, that's the beauty of all this connectivity we have, whether it's social media channels, sites that just showcase artists and creatives and that kind of thing. We're lucky, really, to find those. Some you might call diamonds in the rough, but others are established, and you just by chance, like, well, how the hell did I not know about this person or this person? And there you're on Comixology, you're on other sites, and it all comes together, which is super exciting. I want you guys to tell me a bit about
you have the DIY. Oh, sorry. I just want to say, if you have the DIY attitude, the do-it-yourself, you can get it done because the resources are out there for you to finish it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
there's lots of people available, and they want to be found. You just have to go looking.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think you guys kind of got into my next question a bit about that was, were there any surprising wins aside, to counteract, obviously some unexpected losses?
Unexpected wins. I mean, honestly, like the second that we saw Guillermo's work on the book with the colors, even though I had high expectations, I know that he exceeded those expectations in such a huge way. When you see the neons, when you see those 80s sunset strip colors coming out, then that's where this book really shines. And that's where all those people who knew the strip, who had maybe been to the strip or understand the strip, are going to be able to kind of see it and be like, oh yeah, that's it. You kind of nailed that.
I'll give you an unexpected win for me, and that's that the process with me and Brett. Well, we've known each other for almost 4 decades.
300 years, 400 years, yeah.
Yeah, like we've known each other forever since childhood. And we get along especially well, of course, even though I don't like the guy much, we get along really well.
What's to like, really?
But I did our work, the way we worked was even better than I anticipated. I expected a little bit more of disagreements in how we saw a character or scenes or whatever, just because that's natural, but we didn't really have any of that.
And if we did, it always pushed the story in a positive way, because there is no ego to us in the way that we work. There's only one specific goal. The goal is to go from where we are right now to the story being told in the best way imaginable. And as long as we are both working in service of that, then nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's great. Excuse me, I love that, and the just that pleasant surprise in a sense of, hey, we work great together. No wonder we've been friends this long. This is great. And talk about. I want you guys to really give a, for people who are watching this or maybe they're just listening, but either way, talk about the campaign, about some of the rewards that people can look forward to, some of the tiers, that kind of thing.
Well, I'll let Martin do that, but I do want to say just before he begins that he has been crushing the Kickstarter from moment one. I mean, so much of this is being driven by Martin that I'm amazed, and I'm so happy that he's been driving this boat, and I mean, I love it. And so now you can tell everybody what's on there.
It's kind of the thing is, I gave Brett the roadmap, and then he created a lot of what you're actually seeing visual wise, and along with Sean. How do we pronounce Sean's last name?
Oh, Sean Fehrenbach, who created all of our logos, and we need to shout out for him anyways because he crushes it.
Yeah, he's really amazing. So he helped also with the visuals there you see in the campaign. We tried to give some rewards that would be specific to the music genre, like guitar picks, drum heads, things like that. As well as the things that are a little bit more classical, like the postcards are pretty classic, and T-shirts, hats, that type of thing. So we really think that a lot of work went into, though, not just the idea that, okay, this is going to be like a drum head, but it's what is the best image for that drum head. Working on going through it, trying it, mocking up everything, and seeing what was the best. And we think that they're really cool rewards. I love the big hair, big guitar, big balls, Kings of the Strip shirt, as well as the shirt showing the scene with their gold record and with the list of the tour dates of of all the cities they're in the back, just look really realistic to the actual what you could get if you went to a concert. So yeah, those are some of my favorites, and having those cool logos helped.
Nice.
I think one of the biggest things about that is we tried to make, because we understand, I mean, nobody knows who the scene is. What we tried to make things that looked cool, that other people might want to wear, even though they don't know who the scene is, what everything is about yet, but that they might be like, hey, that's cool, I'll wear that no matter what.
That's awesome. Now for, I know that with many Kickstarters, it's there, it lives, it breathes its own thing, and it kind of has ebbs and flows. I've seen them, you guys have seen them over the years. Are you doing any kind of push on a local angle in terms of visiting retailers to get them, if they haven't seen it? What kind of push do you do outside of the online space, or are you doing that?
I think that we'll start getting into more of it. I mean, it's hard because as it stands, we're kickstarting for the funds to get the book printed. Yeah. So we don't actually have a physical copy that we can show people right now. Right. I mean, the art's done, the colors are done, the lettering's almost done. I mean, we are so very close to everything actually being done. So it's if we're going into shops, it's kind of like, well, here's a couple of pages kind of thing that we can show you, but it's hard right off the bat. I mean, we have a couple of ideas. We'll implement those in the next few days. As far as everything goes there, I think so much of it has to come from online, and then once the Kickstarter is done, once we've gotten it printed, then we'll absolutely be doing a blitz for Calgary, Alberta, and just, and beyond, especially ideally into the US.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we do think that the product is sellable in many different markets. Here in the Calgary area market, if you go on the Kickstarter, you'll see, unfortunately, a very high price for shipping, but we will hand deliver to you, refund the vast majority of that shipping. Just keep a little bit for gas and give you your book in person, and we're more than happy to do that. It's an unfortunate thing. I mean, if you're going to ship to Calgary, it doesn't cost that much, but if you're going to ship to Toronto, it's $18 for a book this size and weight. And unfortunately, it's not like you can go, here's the Calgary shipping, and here's the Edmonton shipping, and no, it's all of Canada. So we had to kind of go by the what would cost the most. And it's unfortunate that shipping from Canada is so expensive. But we really think that we got a quality book here. We're not charging much for 200-page book, and some cool rewards. So I hope they're not put off. Anybody's not put off by that shipping price.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It is. Excuse me. I can only imagine from a creative point of view for the two of you, that when you're all of a sudden you look at those costs, you're like, okay, let's get the campaign funded, and then we'll go from there, right?
Well, it really, when you're working in the campaign, this is just from the Kickstarter point of view, and you go in there and you're creating a campaign, you have to know that what you're collecting and shipping also goes into the campaign. So you have to say, if you're going to collect $3,000 for the shipping, that means you need to raise $3,000 more and up the price. So if you look at it, we have a chart that's showing about, over 40% of it is the printing. That's the vast majority of what we're doing. But unfortunately, the shipping then is the next thing, and it's almost 30%. And then the rewards is the next thing. And then there's taxes that's on there, and then there's the Kickstarter fee. So it's pretty quickly that the number rises. If we just had to collect what we were doing for the printing, it would be no problem. It's everything else that people don't factor in. And if you don't factor that in ahead of time, when it comes time to ship, you're going to lose your ass.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand what you're saying, because that's the thing. A lot of people who know Kickstarters will know already, but some who just are new to it, and they'll see your book and go, this book looks awesome and fun, I want to get this book. It's nice to have that breakdown in there to give sort of that reality check of, hey, this is what creators go through on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, we're not charging people for the art. We're not, like, all of that's paid for. I mean, that's kind of like, we wanted the book done so that there was no question that when we came to Kickstarter, it was going to be like, no, if this funds, you're going to get the book. There's no question in my mind. That's going to happen.
Talk about, let people know if they don't, let's say they just don't know Kickstarter and they're watching this and they're like, I want to go check out that book. Give them the explanation like you give to a 5-year-old on how to find it online, and then where to find yourselves if they want to reach out and talk about how cool they think your book looks, and go from there.
We Talk podcast. There's a sticky post right now with a link to the Kickstarter. That's probably the easiest. Our Twitter accounts, of course, have it. Or if you just go to Kickstarter, it's kickstarter.com. And in the top right-hand bar, there is a search button. And you can just click that and type in Kings of the Strip. Easy to spell. But yeah, We Talk podcast. Visit there. That's how you can quickly link to the site.
Okay, fantastic. Talk about like a couple of the challenges you guys had with setting, like with the Kickstarter that you just mentioned.
Why did it take 5 years is what you're saying? These things take a long time. They do. It's typical. It's a lot of the graphic novels, they take a long time. Certainly when you're doing 200 pages, and it adds up. We don't necessarily expect to make the money back. It's about creating the art. The art is the most important thing. What is your legacy you're leaving behind? Can you be proud of it? That's more important than the money that either comes in or goes out, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it is a lot of it is where are you in your personal. I find during the creation of this, a lot of it was the challenges would come from where you are personally in your life. Are you in a good place? Or are you not in a good place? And how creatively does that affect your ability to work on the book? You just keep working at it. You just keep plugging away, and eventually you're going to get there. Don't stop, not for anything. That's my advice.
Well, and the thing too is that it's not easy for other people to commit to doing a 200-page book. That is a long commitment for an artist, especially. And so I think that finding the right fit for the number of pages that you need can be a challenge. And for us, I really do believe that we were blessed to be able to get it complete and to find people who believed in us enough to jump on board and and help us create what I think is awesome.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the book. I think it reads really, really well. I think people will have a lot of laughs with the book, and maybe sometimes they'll be touched by the drama in the book as well. I really believe that. I think so. I'm really curious to find out what people say is their favorite character. But Brett makes a good point about the committing to. I mean, a lot of the times when you get an artist in these things, they do 8 pages and then they disappear. Like kind of happened with our letterer. That's not uncommon. Getting somebody like JC who we could look at and go into Comixology and see all these books he's finished gave us peace of mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I will say this again, obviously I said it off the top. Congratulations again on the realization of your book. And you're right, 200 pages is a lot, but it's 200 pages of, from everything I've heard from you two and what I've read and the video I watched on your Kickstarter, it looks like a ton of fun. So Kings of the Strip is on Kickstarter right now. I suggest you go support it. I will soon, I promise.
And yes, please support it now, because this is when it's printing. And don't get me wrong, if for some reason this Kickstarter doesn't go, we'll find a way. We're going to get this book into your hands. We're going to get it out there because it's too damn good to let be sitting on just done and not being read. We're going to get it into your hands somehow or another. Even if I have to show up at your houses with the book and just knock on every door in the city and go across the country, across North America, we're going to do it.
He's got a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah,
clearly. Nice. Well, I need the exercise.
Yeah, that too.
Well, hey, Brett and Martin, thanks so much for joining me. It was great to see you guys again. Eventually, we'll have to get together in person again. Anyways, thanks again.
Well, thank you for having us.
I will let you. You know what? If you support the book on the Kickstarter, and I'll tell people, don't wait, support it now. Instead of later, that's the best way to get it as soon as possible. But if you support it, Chris, I'll tell you what, I'll let Brett buy you a beer.
Oh, you know what? That's perfect. I don't know how you pass that up.
I know, right? I mean,
that's a reward.
I'm good people. I'm good people.
Excellent. Well, thanks again, you guys, and good luck with the campaign and the book. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
No problem.